Hey, good morning, friends. Welcome back, YouTube, to another update. Hanging out in the pond with your good morning friends. Oh, so yeah, no update last night. It wasn't really obvious what it was up to. It didn't want to reach into that fair value gap, so we'll just kind of go over what went on here. I was looking for a bottom inside of this tail. So I was mentioning that if we started losing these levels, that I'd be aiming for something below the market. And I was looking at this fair value gap here. I think we even stretched it out to like this. And this would have been a good spot for price action to want to bounce if it got there, and it didn't. So I was kind of disappointed about that. And so, we were looking at this breaker at one point. This shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody. And we couldn't quite get down into the gap. And then we ended up using this tail here as support for this candle. So on, of course, the lower quadrant of this bullish breaker. So let's just check out a 2-hour chart. Go take a peek. The 2-hour chart to me operates like the 15-minute chart. I really like it. It takes a lot of the noise out, especially if you're looking for a weekly profile. So yeah, let's get into it. That's that lower quadrant of the breaker. And then so we ended up getting a new day opening gap right in here, which is kind of hilarious. So we'll annotate that. And I usually like these purple. And just before I continue, like if I'm out of the market or I'm just not interested, I'm showing you now in a live setting what I'm doing when I come back into the markets and I'm studying and I'm, checking out what price was up to. So we had this new day opening gap here. Very cool. So that's Wednesday's close and Thursday's open. Okay. And noticing the respect of the bodies on the midway point there. Let's just give it a little zoom. Look at the bodies here on the midway point. They're just refusing to close below, even though it does come for another little dipsky poo there. We'll check out what time that happened at. And then so we had down close candle supporting price. That's the bullish breaker here. Beautiful, beautiful delivery. And then running up into, what was that? Yeah, that was this tail again. So we can just take that off, get rid of some of the noise here. Oops. Go back into the 2-hour chart. So here it is. Here's that price point, the bullish breaker running up. Ooh, I thought we got rid of this. There. Oh, no. Okay, no, that's the inside of that tail. Beautiful. Okay. Let's make dang sure, right? So that's the one. So this is the rejection block here. And we're just going to keep in mind that the low that was made was on the lower quadrant of that bullish breaker. So back to the 2-hour chart. Okay, so that's that low. It comes and daps it one more time. Starts running out of our purple shaded area. Look at the sensitivity here. And then look at it here. Okay, so it's SR flipping that rejection block. So this candle here comes and snaps all the way up and closes above the upper quadrant. This candle comes down, taps consequent encroachment, and snaps right up above the rejection block, back up into the bearish breaker or bearish order block. This being the bearish order block that was used as targets today, I would anticipate that it would want to get flipped. So it'll make more sense when we get into the lower time frames, but this is some really good delivery. It actually is singing a nice tune. Let's just check out a 4-hour chart. What I don't know is if we're going to come into this gap before taking out this high. We could find resistance here, snap down, take liquidity one more time, and then start running up. However, it's just because like this, okay, so there is a shift in structure. We do have a swing high here. We do have a fair value gap. So this guy here was from yesterday's PM session when we were hanging out together, and I was looking at price wanting to reach back up into here. And what was this? Flipping this guy here, was that a 1 hour? Is it a 5 minute? I have that annotated for some reason. Aha. It was a bearish order block, and I wanted to see it flipped into a bullish breaker. So let's go see the delivery on that puppy. Beautiful. Look at how it snapped right through it and then used it as support and then ran into targets. This is exactly what I wanted to see yesterday afternoon. Only it happened, when was that? This morning? Hilarious. Only it wanted to happen this morning. And this is gonna, like, you guys have seen this so many times, especially my private students, where I'll be looking for something really specific. And if it doesn't happen at the overnight trading, it will happen the next day. And it's so annoying because it's like you can see the draw on liquidity, but it's... Where's my mouse here? Not connected. Connected. Come on. Function. There we go. But, so I was looking at price to want to run here to the double top. And instead, it just does this and saves the run for the next day. So pretty happy to be a part of the move. I woke up and seen a bunch of squiggly mess, and I went back to bed, and then I woke up at like 7:30, 10:30 on the New York clock, and we were already making our way up into targets, and I was just like, whatever. I don't put too much stress around Christmas time, forcing trades or like if we turn on the daily separator, when I see this coming out of London and it's, just trending, like sure, London lunch was definitely acceptable. But when I see this, I'm not really interested, especially I was looking for price to want to run here. That was my gun to my head. This is where I wanted it to go. And for me, personally, I'm more interested when London does nothing or trends down slightly. Oops. Just hanging out below the open. And if we would have been in this fair value gap, I would have stayed up. If we would have come down here for 9:30 and then snapped up, that would have been it for me. But being above the open is just kind of like no-go zone territory for me. It's not that I can't trade it. It's December. I'm not looking for reasons to be in a trade. I'm looking for reasons why I don't want to be in a trade, because realistically, And you seen it in Bitcoin today, just a complete gong show. We could have snapped up here for the Judas. Okay, maybe even come up here and then snapped right back down for the gap. That could have been on the table, and that still could be a reality. We haven't really made it above any significant price points. It's now 5 p.m. and we've closed. Let's take a looky poo at what happened on the daily chart. And look, we didn't get a close above. We got an inside trading candle. We didn't take the previous day's high. We didn't take the previous day's low. We'll grab our data range. Sitting at equilibrium likely. Yeah. So this is where things get a little squirrely, and it's no accident or coincidence that we're stuck at equilibrium in the middle of December. Now, many people don't understand that the equilibrium of a data range, you can go both directions. This is where it's not random in a sense that the delivery is going to be random. It's random to us as we kind of have to guess where price is off to. So even though this Friday I was looking for a high before maybe a spike down, it went down first, which I'm thoroughly more, I enjoy this a lot more. But once it gets to our discount, this is where we could start looking for high probability reversals. All right. Just like once it showed its hand, we had a specific point in which we would want to reach for this fair value gap here. And obviously this new week opening gap down here, or old week opening gap. If it wanted to reach down here, this is likely where it would want to go. So again, not quite random, but it's so much easier to find these reversals when they're not stuck at equilibrium. Because it could come and want to pierce that high, come and tag this gap one more time before doing a doom drop. And I say that only because there's a swing low here. Okay, so the highest high that the three candles made is this high here. So just it technically in a discount. So it could come and want to snap up here before dropping into here. Just as easily as it could want to just finish the job and then start working its way back up if we're bullish, which I'm fairly certain we are. I don't see it wanting to leave this data range. If you're not using the new contract, we're using NQH 2026. Make sure you got that on your chart. All right, let's go to the monthly chart and just see what the candle looks like. Inside trading candle so far hasn't taken the previous month's high, which I was aiming for, admittingly. And we haven't taken the previous month's low. So let's grade this tail. And we've hit consequent encroachment of this rejection block. Is the bottom in? That's what we want to know. Is the bottom in? So we've got relative equal lows down here. If it wants to jettison somewhere, it's going to be this area here, likely. And that little fair value gap that's just below, let's have that marked off too. How you guys like the little AI turtle? Hello. Coming in my pond, hanging out. Yeah, so this gap here. Back to the 15-minute. You know, this lazy reversal pattern ended up melting through. So at one point, one of these, you know, quote unquote left shoulders head, and then that right shoulder, the cup and handle, or the inverted what friggin' cheeseburger, whatever that is, that's going to be very obvious when we're down here. And the longer that we're down here, the longer that your retail moving averages are going to tighten up and give you that probability of a pumpski poo. So we're still waiting for it. I think it's going to happen. Absolutely, I do. I'm not saying the top's in at all, and I'll permit price to come down more. That's okay. So this is that fair value gap that is just underneath these lows. So this is going to be the first spot I want to see sensitivity, and then the second spot. Keep in mind, I wouldn't mind at all if we just hung out in this range for a while. And just like I was saying, get the moving averages tight, come take the liquidity, and then just snap out of control. I would thoroughly enjoy that. And that would mean a whole another week of pain, which is pretty forecastable for December. All right, is next week's going to be the low liquidity week. So just don't go too hard, you guys. Mind your risk. Use these times to learn how to sit out of the market. You know, even though price ripped out of control today, it felt good to not even care and not want to engage and not care if I could catch something. It's freeing, okay? It's just, it is absolutely freeing. Yeah, I think I just took a little trade here on Monday. I took a couple boss trades on Tuesday waiting for this thing to run in my targets. Took a couple of trades here. I recorded this one. Yesterday, I took a trade and it was either a small loss or a round trip. Right here, right at opening bell, it came and grabbed sell side liquidity. It was below the open. I was looking for it to want to run up into buy side liquidity and hit my target. It didn't want to give it to me. And then I just sat out and just sat on my hands and did nothing, which, 3 years ago I couldn't do, which is something that many of you watching me now cannot do. And that's what you're here to learn. You're here to learn how to strengthen that self-control. So, yeah, this is the levels I'm interested in. If it wants to get down into here, I'll be definitely interested in a setup for tomorrow. And tomorrow's Friday. So just taking a look at the weekly candlestick so far, it's made TGIF retracements. This is that bottom. This is consequent encroachment of the monthly tail. Okay, so hopping into the weekly chart and just taking a look, we'll annotate this whole candle here. Let's actually grab both of these because this candle closed up above both of them. And it still doesn't quite give us that perfect delivery. How about here? No. Typically if the bottom's in, I'd like to see that touched beautifully. It's just not. So Bitcoin's got some catching up to do. I think Bitcoin's going to be in a hurry to get back up above this candle here because it's definitely well below. So be on the lookout for your Bitcoin trades. There's likely going to be a rush here right away. Probably just after Christmas, if not a Christmas rally. But use this candle as like support and resistance, okay? Have that one on your chart for tomorrow. I paint them purple because I don't know if they're going to get, smashed through or used for support. That's my questionable. But it's support and resistance nonetheless. And you'll see that in the 15-minute how it uses it pretty dang good for SR flips. So, yeah. I guess here will be the first spot I'm looking for sensitivity. So if Asia drops us below here, then tomorrow morning I'll be interested here. If we're above this for tomorrow morning, this purple shaded area here, then I will look here for a trade. Yeah, and tomorrow's kind of like freestyle day. Gun to my head, I think it goes up. But it could take one more spill. See that low right there? How these lows fell. Look, you gotta understand it from a retail perspective, okay? Price went up, okay? And everybody, you know how people love their buying pressure, right? So people are looking at this as like a falling wedge or, some type of bullish freaking horseshoe or an elongated cup and handle or just something, right? Where's their stops? Their stop losses are right here because trust me, bro, this is where the buyers come in. That's what they say. So you can see how we've made like relative equal lows down here. Okay. And you can see how it didn't tag that low. So people who were long in here and whose stops are below that low, they think that they're really on side. So this is why I'm inviting one more low. Logically, it's sound. It can come down for one more low and tag all these guys out. The sensitivity that you see from stop hunts is the second condition to the money printer model. That break in structure where it snaps out and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss this trade. But then it sinks back down. And that's where you get in for the moonshot. So that's kind of what I'm expecting for the next few weeks. So, but again, I will invite some chop here coming up. So be careful. Have a daily loss limit. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and be safe.